Welcome to Everyday
Speed
Speed Bumps. We are Valentina.
and Andrea, and together we will dive in the unexpected pauses of our life journey.
So if you're navigating the twists and turns of life, join us as we share life stories and lessons from our everyday speed bumps.
But don't worry, there is always another speed bump ahead. But together, we got this.
Hey. This is our 5th episode. And today we're going to talk about a topic that could save you a lot of trouble in your relationships. And if you manage to understand it properly, it'll give you an advantage on the way you relate yourself with others and the way you make others feel loved. And the topic is the 5 love languages. And yeah, we're going to tell you everything we know about all these different 5 love languages.
And our interpretations and everything.
Yeah.
Also, just as a heads up, this episode will be live in mid-September or so, which in Colombia, we celebrate love and friendship. So I think it's really, I don't know, it's synchronized. It's just something that just came to my mind.
How come you have a different love and friendship day?
No, because we celebrate everything. So we have love and friendship, plus we celebrate St. Valentine's.
And it's only in Colombia.
Yes. And it's a big thing.
I mean, yeah,
Because
any opportunity to celebrate love and friendship counts.
Yes. So
For those whose love language is receiving gifts, that's, a great deal. You get
for
gifts twice a
carnations,
year.
like the carnations. Okay.
So the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, receiving gifts, acts of service, physical touch, and Thea's personal favorite, quality time. So when was the first time you heard about these 5 love languages?
Okay, this is a funny story. The first time I heard it was a couple of years ago. I was dating this guy, and we were one day talking.
Say the name.
No, I can't. We're good friends. He's a really nice guy. And he told me, hey, which one is your love language? And I was like, I have no idea. So he told me, do the test and let me know. I'm really keen to know which one is your love language. And then we can share both of our love languages. I arrived that day home. He sent me the link. I arrived that day home, and I did the test. And I was like, okay, this is too hard because there are many questions where I feel that I'm both of the answers, or I just don't know. And yeah, then I did it. I found out that mine is obviously quality time, and it still is because I've done it again like yesterday. And then we talk about it, and he was like, oh, it all makes sense because I am a person that maybe don't need to be with a person 100% of the time. But for me, those small moments are countless, mean a lot for me. So yeah, then we discussed which one was hymns and which was acts of service. And yeah, it was a really
She's
nice
just giving
thing.
the hints of who the person is. If we get to 500 subscribers after this episode, I might drop the name on a comment.
Oh yeah, so subscribe and listen to us, and yeah, we can share the name.
You said something interesting about the test, that you couldn't decide which option to choose. And that happened to Paul yesterday because I asked him to take it just, out of fun. And he was like, I don't know which one to choose because I like both.
Yes.
So it's like, no, it doesn't mean that you don't like one of the options. It's which one you like best.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously if it's like, what do you prefer? Receiving a hug or having someone support you with a difficult task while you're busy? Both are great.
Both are really good.
Exactly. But which one would bring you the most joy? And that's, a moment of, like what we always say, stopping, doing some introspection, and even discovering yourself. You don't need to do this test just to tell others or, educate others on the way you like to be loved and the way you express loved. It's also about you knowing yourself.
Exactly, because before I didn't know. For me, before I always say, quality time was important, but I didn't know it was my love language. And just on that way, it's like you are not only one love language, you are a combination of the 5 both languages. So yeah, I am a person that loves quality time, but also receiving a gift will make me happy. Maybe not the same as spending quality time with the person, with the people I love, because this is not just in a romantic way. It covers all type of relationships.
Yeah. So the first time Thea learned about this topic was through this guy she was dating. The first time I learned about this topic was through a friend that was trying to analyze me. She was like, I know what's your love language. It's words of affirmation. And I just out of curiosity did the test, and it ended up my love language is words of affirmation.
But she knew it.
She knew it.
Yeah, she knew it.
She knew it. She guessed it. Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like when you have a close relationship with someone, it's easy to identify which is the love language, but you can get it wrong.
Exactly, because you are also a combination of the other ones. And maybe I tell you all the time, oh, you're amazing what you do, or you're amazing in doing this, amazing job. But then I will not think maybe at first that yours is words of affirmation. Maybe I thought because yours was more, I don't know, spending time together or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah. And then you might be wondering, where does my love language come from? Or at what stage in my life is my love language determined? And after doing some research, we discovered that your love language can potentially come, or most likely comes, from your childhood.
Exactly. And from your childhood, or even when you are growing up, on what were you lacking of? Because that's when you are lacking of, that's what you most desire. So if you had maybe someone that give you gifts all the time but never give you a hug, then you are like, when someone gives me a hug, that hug means a lot.
Yeah.
So it depends. It's when you are actually growing up, or even those can change a bit. They can vary a bit when you get older, because you stay, okay, you know what? Now I know a hug is important, but maybe I found the other type of love language more relevant for me in the moment I am right now.
Yeah. And for instance, in my case, I'm the youngest of 3 siblings. And, every kid is different. And everyone in their childhood requires like different types of attention. And for instance, out of the 3, I was the most responsible in school. So that wasn't a worry for my parents. They would never ask me like, do you have homework? Or because when is your next...
You were like the tick. You were like, okay, yeah, she's doing well, etc.
Exactly. It wasn't a worry.
Yeah, it wasn't.
They would worry about me in other areas, but particularly in school, it wasn't a worry. And so because of that, I never received, that tap in the back saying you're doing great, because they knew I was always going to do great. Mm-hmm. Or at least okay.
Yeah, they were not worried because maybe your brothers needed more that attention or whatever. But you were like, you know what? She's doing okay. We don't need to praise that she's doing okay, because we all know she will do okay.
Yeah. And for instance, Gabby, she really didn't like biology. And whenever she got a good grade, no, I mean, it's so basic.
Yeah,
but whenever she would get a good grade in biology, we would almost like throw a party and celebrate it. And everyone would be so proud. And a part of me was like, but why don't I get the party if I'm always good in biology? Mm-hmm. So you start comparing yourself. So my parents are super caring. We spent a lot of time together.
They're super close. You have a really close relationship in all terms with your family.
Yeah, but even now, like growing up, I can tell how in so many moments I had to recognize that I needed, that tap in the back. So I would go to them and I'd be like, look at my homework. What do you think about it? Mm-hmm. Or look at this thing that I did today. What do you think about it?
Yeah.
Or, tomorrow I have this project and this is the idea that I have. What do you think about it? Expecting them to tell me, that sounds great, or great job, or you're doing well. And it's just that affirmation that really doesn't define you, because despite of, I know they loved me, and they love me, mm-hmm. and I know they're proud of me, but I just needed to hear it.
Yeah, because it became the norm of not hearing it, because they know internally, okay, she's doing amazing. She knows that she's doing amazing and we're proud of her. But you also wanted that celebration that maybe your sister had when she was getting A's or excellent or whatever, how you were great at school in biology.
Yeah.
So you also wanted that recognition.
Yeah. And even now, after so many years where I've recognized this, even if you don't put a name on it, after I learned about the 5 love languages, it made me understand, all that process. Mm-hmm. But without even knowing all this theory, I would reach out to my parents, and nowadays they're always expressing what they feel or they think. You know, my
But
dad's
you have
almost
shared
like,
with him.
yes,
So you shared with him that you wanted to listen, that they are actually proud of you.
exactly.
Okay.
Yes. But without knowing about this theory.
Oh, okay.
So now my dad's like, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, to the point where now I'm like, really? You're going to say it again? And he's like, it's never enough times. I'm so proud of you. I'm
that's
so proud of you.
sweet.
But that took many years, many conversations, and, you know, being honest with yourself, saying, it's okay that I need this.
But it's good that you actually tackle it even before you knew it, because you knew that
Yeah.
that was missing on
Yeah.
your side. Maybe it was kind of a straightforward thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's interesting. My case, it was the opposite. I grew up, my parents are divorced, and I grew up with my dad traveling from even like half of the week he was out. So those weekends when he was always back were memorable for me, for my dad sharing that time with me during that weekend. It was like an important time for us sharing as a family during the weekend. However, many things happened when they got divorced. Then it was the weekend I got to see my dad every 15 days. And then when our relationship kind of, break, or, started to have like many
Yeah, it
speed
became
bumps,
weaker.
became weaker. uh, every time I saw him, after that, it was like something in my heart like inflate, or it became really really meaningful. So I think mine has been transformed. Yes, in well, I was little, it makes sense, but when growing up, it make like, okay, I don't get to see my dad all the time. I get to see it when growing up and in my 20s or so, like maybe once per year or twice per year. So it was like, okay, I need to make a
The
good
most of
time,
it.
the most time of this time I am with him. And even nowadays that I live far away, I call my family, I call my mom, I call my sister, and yeah, it's a good time, our time we talk, and we're always like, we talk quite often. But because I don't go that often back to Colombia, every time I go, for me, it's really important to spend quality time with them, to spend quality time with my friends, because I don't get to see them often. But when I'm there with them, I am 100% with them. Like, I give them my whole love. I don't answer the text all the time, but when I'm with someone, I want that person to be 100%, because that for me is how I recharge. I recharge with people. I recharge when I'm talking to you and you are listening to me, and we are like having a conversation, which I can tell is a quality time with a friend, with my family, or with a partner.
Yeah. And the fact that your love language is not only the way you like to receive love, it's also the way you express it.
Exactly.
Right?
Because
So in your case, quality time. You make the most of every moment when you're with someone, but you also appreciate when someone makes the most when they're with you. So when someone's eating, having a lunch with you, or going for dinner with you, and they're not on their phone, when someone's really listening to whatever you have to say, when someone, you know, is there because they want to be there with you and make the most of it with you.
exactly. That's how I feel it. But maybe for that person, they just do it because, okay, yeah, it's a good time. Because I'm not, unless you're in your own way, we are not saying, hello, my name is Andrea, and this is my love language. It's something that I just share it here in the podcast, but you are not saying all the time. But for example, I know that is relevant nowadays, and then after all this conversation we had recording the podcast, or even when that person told me, hey, which one is your love language, because we were actually dating to see if we actually match, or for him just to understand me and for me to be able to understand him. And it was like, it was important. And then every time I saw him, he was without his phone, because he knew it was an important time to see each other at least one time per week or twice per week, but that moment to be important. I don't need to see the person all the time. Or
Yeah.
even in your case of words of affirmation, maybe sending you a message. Now I know that, for example, if I send you a message like, hey, Vale, you did it amazing, that for me, that for you is like, will full you up, instead of just saying, hey, let's go for lunch. Maybe for you it's more
Exactly.
important,
Yeah.
that 3 words of message that I'm
Yeah.
proud.
And also because few times we stop to kind of think of what the other person's love language is. You know, I usually automatically would think like, this person did well on something, I'm going to drop them a text and tell them, how proud I am.
Because of your words of affirmation,
Or
main love language.
Yeah. Or, this person has had such a huge impact in my life. I'm going to send them a text telling them, how grateful I am. So I really do express a lot of these things. But I never stopped to think, maybe all these things that I'm saying are completely irrelevant for this person. Because they could also be, I don't think they would be completely irrelevant.
That's what I'm going to tell. Because if you tell me, maybe that's not my love language, my number one love language. But if you tell me I'm proud of you, a tear will go out.
Yeah, obviously. But maybe if I never want to hang out with you and I sent you a text, you'd be like, nice text.
Yeah.
But let's go for lunch.
Let's go for lunch. Exactly.
So, it's balancing the way you love versus the way others like to be loved. And understanding that there's no one single love language that applies to a person. We all love all the 5 love languages, but some resonate more with our emotions, with our story, and with the way we process all these feelings.
So do you think with your close friends and family, or even, with people that you actually get to see a lot, we should actually put that topic on the table of asking which one is your main love language? Do you think that is really relevant?
I think it's relevant. It helps you, any information that adds up. For me, it's always a yes.
Yeah.
If you're going to learn something about someone, if it's going to help you gain a tool, if it's going to help you visualize, a perspective different from yours, it's always a yes. So whatever adds up, do it. If you have a group of friends, send the quiz. We'll leave it somewhere. We need to leave something.
Yeah, we'll leave it in the description, the link.
Take the quiz. And this is no advertisement. That quiz company, you better be grateful. But take the quiz and discuss the way that you like to be loved, and discover yourself as well.
Yeah, the thing that when you are discussing the way you like to be loved, it also can be a little bit, you open a bit of your vulnerability of just saying, this is my love language, and maybe I don't want to share it. Because maybe you say, oh, I feel needy. And maybe it's not about being needy. It's just because everyone likes, I think everyone loves to feel love in some way. And when you want to grow a relationship, when you want to better your relationship with your families, with your friends, it's always nice to know about it. And now, for example, now I know that's your love language. And as a friend, I can tell you more, hey, Vale, you did an amazing job here, instead of, I don't know, bringing you a gift all the time.
Yeah.
It's not that I bring her a gift all the time, but it makes you feel more valuable.
But that's also because we tend to interpret things with a negative connotation. That's where the fear comes from. So for example, words of affirmation. That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
It's like you need approval from someone external.
From someone all the time.
Exactly. And it's not that. It's just, sometimes help me recognize these things that I'm feeling, that just help me understand that I'm on the right track, or that what I'm doing now is positive and has an impact, when people can see it. And that's always nice to feel. For instance,
or the gift.
Receiving gifts. As if you were the most materialistic person. It doesn't mean that. Anyone can buy a gift anywhere. It's the meaning that you put behind buying that gift. The thought of saying, I'm going to get this, or I'm going to bring this to this person because I know it's going to have, a positive impact. It's going to make her happy. It's going to make her, feel in a certain way. Or not even. Just because I was thinking about you.
Exactly. It's not about the value of the gift. Cost, let's say monetary cost of the gift. Doesn't need to be a really expensive gift, but maybe I was walking around and I know that person, her love language is gift, and I know I don't know, in the store before seeing the person, I saw her favorite chocolate or his favorite chocolate, and I just decided to buy it. Just like, hey, I was in the shopping, grocery shopping, I saw this chocolate, I want to buy it, and maybe that thing, oh my God, that's beautiful, and honestly, I love it too.
I have an example. We have a friend, Jacobo. He has the biggest heart ever. I feel like his heart is not even limited to 5 love languages. He has like 100. But anyway, he had a trip to South America. And when he came back, he brought each of his closest friends a tiny skull from Mexico. And it's that moment when he gives you the gift and it makes you think, this guy was,
In Mexico.
around Mexico,
Around me.
thinking about me and sharing his joy with me.
Exactly. Instead of just wandering around and touring in the city, because it was like, I don't know, he spent a certain amount of minutes focusing, okay, which ones will I buy, which gift will I buy, this instead of the other one, and just saying, hey, I'm thinking of Valentina, I'm thinking of Andrea, I'm thinking of this person. Let me buy something to know that I was thinking of my trip of that person.
Exactly.
And that was a beautiful moment when he gave it to us.
That's beautiful. Acts of service. When you're busy, burnt out, you have a lot of responsibilities, and someone comes to you and says, let me take a little bit out of your plate and, release a little bit of the.
Let me cook dinner for you.
Let me cook dinner for you.
Or let me do your laundry. That will be
Mine. I really think my second love language is acts of service.
In parentheses, laundry.
Because every time Paul does laundry, I'm so grateful and I'm the happiest because it's something that I really don't enjoy. I really don't enjoy it, and it takes so much time.
Yeah, for me it's not nothing, but for her it's
Yeah.
like a big thing. So I know that's really important. So it doesn't need to be taking you the actual work, but doing something that will even release some pressure from your shoulders that of your to-do list.
Exactly. And then there's physical touch, which doesn't need to be in a sexual connotation. Physical touch could be a hug,
When you're with your partner,
holding
holding
hands.
hands.
Just when your friend is upset, holding them tight and, making them feel that they're not alone. And that usually comes with the sexual connotation. Automatically you're like, his love language is physical touch. No way. And it's not like that.
Yeah, but we know people that, for example, when they give you a hug, they really give you a hug. And we know people around that their love language is physical touch, and when they say hello to you and they give you a hug, they are like, oh my God, this hug feels like a real hug. Because maybe when I arrive, I'm like, hello, but that person, when they give you a hug, it's like, oh my God, these hugs feel like it means a lot.
Yeah. And before you start saying that this depends on the culture, because obviously there are cultures that hug a lot more, and then others are, a more reserved with their personal space. This book has been translated to almost every language. And one of the discoveries that he recently shared is that the 5 love languages trespass cultural barriers. So everyone kind of adjusts them to, their culture and their behaviors, but they apply to every culture.
Yes, actually, yeah. Because, for example, when we talk about the hug, someone that is not from our culture, because maybe in our culture, in Latin culture, you hug a lot, you touch a lot. It's like a touchy culture, but maybe in other cultures they don't touch as much. So maybe that giving this touch, giving this hug, it's a lot for that person. And yeah, so yeah, it transpass barriers, transpass from cultures. It applies to everyone from everywhere, and it's also relevant to know the story of the person. Not relevant, but if you are able to know the story of the person, it's nice because behind your love language there is a nice story. My mom, she's 100% of receiving gifts. Even, I don't know, if she goes on a trip or whatever, she needs to buy something for everyone. And once I was like, Mom, you don't need to buy every time something for everyone. Like, no way. Or when she said, oh, because I'm not going, because I at this moment, maybe I don't want to buy, or I cannot buy this gift for this person. I needed to tell you, like, and this is part of my giving my love language of knowing that is telling, it's not about the gift that you take, but just go there. Your quality time of being there, but it's just in my head of the quality time of being there in the party or in the event, it means a lot more to the person. But in her head, it's always like, I need to give her a gift. Sometimes she was just arriving to visit your house and she comes with a gift. And I'm like, you don't really need to do that. Or for me, It's like, okay, someone is coming to London. What should I send you? And it's like, you should not send me anything. I don't need anything. But with her head, it's like, I want to share something with you, share something material. Even when growing up, she was always giving stuff. And I'm always like, why? Where does, in this case of my mom, of this gift thing comes? She was the fourth kid of five kids. So the first three, they got kind of married, etc. Before, so they, yeah, before my grandparents died. And the younger one, the youngest one, Monica, she was the face of my grandmother's brand. So my grandmother's brand was the name of the youngest sister. So my mom was just there, the weird one, the different one of the family, etc. So she was never like being in the center of attention of my grandparents. I never met them. They died a long time ago. My mom was really young. So the gift part, yeah, she had everything kind of, but because they gave a gift, or they gave a lot of things to her brothers even when they got married, and or because they were a man, they gave them like part of, yeah, gift, let's say. So for her, she always feel that she didn't receive it. And then I will share her story in another episode, because a really strong story of my mom. When her parents died, yeah, she stopped like receiving. She never really received those things, or, and part of like what my grandfathers left her, part of them were kind of like taken from her, let's say. And now I get, when starting receiving gifts, why it's that her love language. I don't know if she has done the test. I don't think she has done the test. It's me knowing her as her daughter, and I bet it's gonna be that, but I will ask her. That part of receiving gift, it became like I never received them, or if, yeah, I received them but not that meaningful for me. I really want to share it.
And that's also valid. Now,
Yeah.
you said, I would tell her you don't need it because it's about the quality time, it's about just going. But if that's the way she likes to
Yeah.
express it, and it feels, it makes her feel full, then that's okay. In the same way that you'll encounter in life a lot of people that when you show up to their place empty handed because you're going through a tough time financially,
or even you
you
didn't
didn't
have
have the time, things happen in life. And you show up, with the best attitude, but empty handed. Some people could be like,
that person,
she didn't bring anything.
yes.
She showed up here without a gift. So it's balancing that. There are different opinions, there are different perspectives, there are different love languages. And in a way, you kind of need to filter and bring into your life the people that resonate with your love language and you with theirs. And some people, the chemistry is just not going to work.
Exactly.
Because you don't know and you don't want to learn to love each other.
And that comes with a theory that it was mentioned about filling the tank. So in relationships, sometimes that friendship relationship, or that romantic relationship, or family relationship, sometimes the tank is empty because you haven't fed this relationship in a while.
Just to illustrate, before you go into that, just to illustrate
yeah.
it. The theory of the tank is like the petrol or gasoline tank of a car. So it goes from empty to full. Obviously, when you lose gas, it goes towards empty. The more gas you have, closer to full. The same happens with relationships.
But yeah, so when you are half empty, that relationship is not working as much because you have not fed that relationship with that with the love language of that person, and that person needs. So sometimes you need to talk with the person and just say, hey, our relationship is not that strong as before. Why? And then you need to share, hey, it's because you haven't spent that much time with me lately, which for me is really important. Or even you haven't tell me how important I am in your life. And I feel that we have just distance a bit. So you need to discover the love languages of the people around you to try to fill that up. And maybe they cannot always be 100% because sometimes with it's not easy. But you can actually put a little bit more petrol, and as Vale mentioned, and if you put more petrol, the relationship goes in a better way. Like it's goes,
Yeah, you can drive longer.
You can drive longer. But if just a day of every day small actions. It's not just one big action, but every day giving small and small actions, or not every day, but every now and then giving small actions to that person, so that person can actually feel loved. And who doesn't like to feel love to feel love.
That's so true. And it also gives you a lot more tolerance. So if your tank is full and you're going through a difficult situation with your partner, friend, family member, you're going to feel a lot stronger because there's a strong base that sustains any, trouble or obstacle that may present. But if it's empty, you're going to have a lot more reasons to just let go and say, I don't really want to put the effort to overcome this, because what is the strong base of this relationship? Yeah. And also to be okay with asking for the type of love that you need from a friend, from your partner, from your family. If you really need someone to remind you what they feel about you, how they feel about you, just approach them and tell them, what do I mean for you? Or what role do I play in your life? Or what makes you the most proud of me?
Or
In the same way that if you need someone to give you company because you're going through something and you don't want to be alone, ask them, do you want to come to my place just to watch a movie? Do you want to come just so we can have a quick chat? Always be okay with asking, reaching out for the type of love that you need.
Yeah, because sometimes when you think about, okay, I need to ask my friend to come, or I need to tell that person that I haven't felt love that much, you feel vulnerable. You feel that you are not strong. And yeah, you can go in this path of life by yourself, but always, what my theory and a thing that I always say, I believe, it's easier when you go along with the people that you love and you appreciate the most.
Yeah. Because the thing is that if you don't speak up, you're going to feel vulnerable anyway.
Exactly.
You're going to be sad anyway. You're going to feel empty anyway. So why don't just find a solution?
Yeah.
And sometimes the solutions are not inside of us. We obviously need to work ourselves to not need, external love. But we need it. We're human. We live in society. We weren't made to be alone, in isolation.
Exactly. And the other person doesn't need to cannot read your mind, unless that person is a psychic.
And it's just asking for a hand, Give me the tools that today I don't have, but potentially you do. And tomorrow, I'm willing to give you the tools as well. Because we complement each other, we support each other, we want to surround ourselves with people that wish us the best. And if you're in that position, there's so many helping hands that you're going to find.
And always, Val, in this case, I always say the relationships sometimes you cannot give 100%. You pass through difficult moments, you pass through difficult times. And sometimes even, let's say it's easier, in any relationship, maybe these days I can give you 10% of myself. But maybe then how can we make it to 100? Maybe you can give me, in that moment where I can only give you 10, you can give me the 90% that is missing to make this relationship successful. However, that will not be always the same case, because then you will be completely exhausted. But in the past of the time, there are other days you can only give 10%, and I can give you the 90%. Although the ideal in every relationship is both of us to give 50 and 50, because that's how things work. And I've heard this a lot with many psychologists, therapists, etc., that they say in your relationships, in your closest relationships, just ask them, how are we today? How are we in these days? Oh, these days, honestly, my head is all over the place. I can only give you this percent. Okay, don't worry. You are important to me. Let me give most. Or even in work, in work partnerships, etc.
And what happens if both are at 0%?
We will find a way. We will find a way.
Someone give us some tips. What happens when both are at 0%?
We'll find a third person that can actually give us love.
Oh my God, no. That can get complicated.
No. But we can, you talk. Because you cannot always give all that love that you go, but when...
Well, or you, like I said before, or you recognize that it doesn't work.
Yeah. And then it's like...
you talk. What if you can't talk? And what if, none of you can talk and you're
I
at
think
0%. It
I
doesn't
think
work.
if both people are at 0% of giving their type of love or giving
It's not
any
there.
love, it's nothing.
Yeah.
I think there will never be a 0%. There will not always be 100 fully percent, but you can give at least something to that person.
No, I mean that if it's a 0%, that's not a
No,
relationship
it's not
that's
a relationship
compatible with
at all.
yours.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Because it's a relationship of two people, and let's take it from there.
Yeah. So some takeaways until now. 5 love languages. Everyone has like a main one. That doesn't mean that the others don't apply to you.
Yeah, we are a combination of all the 5 love languages.
Yes. Take the test. Ask your friends, family, partners to do it as well, and you'll get to learn something new about them. Overcome issues, prevent situations, uncomfortable moments that could have been avoided in the first place if we all learned, to understand the way we like to be loved and the way others like to be loved as well. Communicate whenever you can. Every tool and information is always helpful. And, any possibility to build stronger relationships that are gonna fuel your tank to 100% and help you overcome anything that life throws at you, go for it.
And in part of always focus on filling the tank with most people, because it's easier when that tank is fuller to continue this journey of the life path. Life is not easy, but with the people around, with the valuable people around that give you love, life will be 100% better.
Yeah, and speak up, don't assume, and let's just cancel this culture where, asking for the type of love that you need is wrong. We need to leave that in the past.
Yeah. We need to speak up. Speak up how we go and speak up about rights. We also need to speak up when we need love and how I like to receive love.
Yeah. For instance, I'm a horrible person at times. Paul, he comes here super excited telling me, let's go for dinner today. And I'm such a lazy girl. I'm like, really? Dinner? Why don't we just stay at home and we just cook something? And it's like, girl, just go. He wants to take you out for dinner and spend some time with you.
Yeah. He wants some quality time with you. And when Valentina tells me that, I'm like, Valentina, why not? Because I am like, my quality time love language is being offended.
And I actually thought that his love language was quality time. And then after he took the test, it's actually physical touch. And I was like, what? He's German. Germans tend to be, less physical than at least our cultures, Latin Americans. Because I'm a hugger. I love holding hands. I see a baby and I grab the cheeks and I don't see someone in a while and I hug them tight. And, maybe you also look for someone that expresses.
But when he hugs, and that was a person that I was saying that before, when Polito comes to you.
Polito, that's how
I call him. So when Polito comes to you and he hugs you to say hello, you actually feel like a real hug. And everyone, we always talk about Polito, your hugs means a lot. And now when you told me that is his love language, it all makes sense.
Yeah. And even if we're having an argument, I'm like, but, give me your opinion. What do you feel? And he's not going to tell me what he feels. Even though my love language is words of affirmation, he just gives me the tightest hug. And for me, I've come to understand okay, in my mental process, I'm going to translate what this tight hug means.
That she's amazing. I love her. Yeah, but that's now because his love language.
Exactly. Yeah. It was very frustrating before. And it happens, this is just an example. It happens with coworkers, friends. You end up having unnecessary arguments or going back home feeling even kind of guilty, of not having the satisfaction that you in your head think you deserve or you were expecting. And in the end, it's not that it's lacking. It's just that you're looking at the wrong angle. You're looking, at the wrong source. And they're showing you all that love from a different source that you're just ignoring.
Yeah, that's why it's important to speak up and share your love language with the people around. So Honestly, that guy, when we were dating, he told me about it. I was like, yeah, smarty. Smarty, because we all
Did he
just,
actually apply it?
yes, yeah, really good.
That's why it ended.
No, no, no. We were in a
Oh my
different,
God, no, that was horrible. I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to delete that part.
we're in a different path of life. But he's an amazing human being. But yes, actually, yeah, it worked. Yeah, it worked. He knew about it.
Yeah. What
Because
other story can you tell?
I, I can tell you about guys that I've dated. They travel a lot, or they are really busy with work, and whatever ex, he was traveling all the time. So for me, even spending the weekend together was
Meant
for
a lot.
me amazing. Like spending one full day, 2 full days together were like fully quality time. So I don't even care if that person travels all the time, or that person it's busy. Like for me, it's like, okay, I also like my own space. I'm also busy. Like I also have my own things in life. So for me, just giving you a bit, some people will say, oh, that's just a bit of love. No, for me, that's really important, of that person wanting to dedicate a full day of their life or a full day of their weekend to be with you. That for me is relevant. So yeah. And in the people I have around, in my friends, that for example, the ones that are not here, the ones that they are in other countries, I don't need to talk with them all the time. But when we see each other, it's the same, because for me that is quality time. When I see them, I share time with them, but don't expect me to be texting you all the time, because I will not be there. I will not be that person of being texting to all friends. But when I get to see them, they know I am 100% with them, and they know time hasn't changed. But yeah, it's good. I will tell that to my friends, because I don't think I have shared that my love language is quality time with all my friends.
Yeah,
I'm gonna share
sometimes
it
you'd be
more.
surprised.
Yeah, I'm gonna share it more, and now I want to listen which one of my friends, which love language is the one for my
Yeah.
friends.
Do it kind of like a quiz where you're trying to guess everyone's love language and then put it against the actual result and share it with them. It's also interesting to see how other people perceive your processes. You
Yeah,
know?
that's good. I'm gonna
Yeah.
let's.
Sometimes we have our own idea of ourselves and we're showing something completely different. And I think that balance
Exactly.
is always interesting. And this exercise or this theory of the love languages can help you identify if what you need is actually what your actions are, like if your actions are aligned with that.
Yeah, a theory that we are fully aligned with, and we, for both of us, is really important. And now I know which one is your love language. Now you know which one is my love
That doesn't
language.
mean that I'm not expecting a birthday gift, okay?
Ah, no, 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 don't worry. And look, that I cooked for you on your birthday. So that's also an act of service. And that was not quality time, but because we're a combination of all of them. But I know that sending you a nice message nowadays is really meaningful for you.
Yeah. Actually, that's a nice example. On my birthday, I in my office, you have the benefit of taking your birthday off from work, which is great. But someone was going on maternity leave and I had to work. It wasn't a Monday. And Thea came and she had lunch here with me. She cooked. She distracted me a lot. But, the company, her cooking while I was working and finishing up some things was really, a nice thing and a nice way of showing your love
Exactly.
that
And
day.
that in that case, for example, was not words of affirmation, which is yours, or maybe, yeah, it was a bit of quality time, but it was mainly acts of service. It was an act of service of taking you something from your shoulders, of just being doing it for you.
Exactly.
And you feel really grateful for that. And that shows that, yeah, this is important, but you all are also fed up of the different love languages.
Exactly. So just continue discovering yourself, chatting about, all these theories and things that we learn on the way. We literally were just talking about it and we said, that's something we can share on the podcast.
Yeah.
Because we found it so interesting. And
And
again, we're on a self discovery journey, and many of you might be on the same journey as well because it's constant. And we hope all these tools can help you understand love better and love better. Yeah, we're really enjoying this moment of just sitting on this couch, pausing and having this conversation with you has been so beautiful. And there comes my words of affirmation. We've had so much nice and positive feedback of people that really resonate with the topics, or people that, you know, just appreciate the effort, the result of something that we're building from scratch. Starting in my living room, you know, figuring out how the microphones work, editing, you know, still aligning, aligning on the dynamic, and just hearing the positive feedback is a complete, you know, source of fuel for me and of motivation that more and more makes me enjoy being on this couch just chatting with you.
Yeah, we have received so many beautiful comments. Some of them have made me drop a tear or two. Let's just say this. Because I can cry a lot. But yeah, it's nice. And now that you're listening to this, we're really grateful for everyone that is listening or watching us in this podcast.
Yes, and this is just the beginning. We're hungry to continue learning, to continue improving, and to continue opening up to connect with you. See you on the next one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.